Hi, it's Edward, back with another video. Please take a moment to click the thumbs up button below and consider subscribing to the channel. Please also share this video with your friends. Thank you for your support. Today, I read several financial news articles. I've included links to the articles in the description below. I encourage you to read the articles to support the authors and news sources. As a private American citizen, I'd like to report and share my transformative thoughts through commentary regarding small sections of these articles that are of public interest. Today, I read an article on yahoo.com put out by Politico and written by Michael Stratford titled 40% of student loan borrowers missed payments in October. According to the author, about 40% of federal student loan borrowers missed their first monthly payment this fall as the unprecedented pandemic-era freeze on student debt expired. The new data suggests that borrowers are experiencing a significantly higher level of delinquency and distress than they did before the pandemic, and the data confirms that millions of Americans are relying on a temporary safety net program that the Biden administration created to help borrowers who struggle to make payments. Well, ladies and gentlemen, here are my thoughts. First, I don't agree with what the author said relating to the new data that suggests that borrowers are experiencing a significantly higher level of delinquency and distress than they did before the pandemic. The reason I disagree with this statement is because no federal student loan borrowers can fall into delinquency until October 2024 because of Biden's on-ramp program. If federal student loan borrowers don't make a single payment between now and September 2024, they can't fall into delinquency, default, or be charged any late fees or penalties. The author really should have said that these federal student loan borrowers would be delinquent if it were not for Biden's on-ramp program. Later in the article, the author did provide information relating to this, but it really should have been clarified up front. I'm not criticizing the author. I think it's a great news article, and I encourage all of you to read it via the link in the description below. From my perspective, I am a bit frightened about what is going to happen after October 2024 when Biden's on-ramp program ends. I worry for those who are struggling financially right now and may not be in a position to make their payments on their student loans. Once people can fall into delinquency and default in October of 2024, this may not bode well for their credit. Life in our world can be a lot more difficult when you have bad credit. You may have a harder time getting approved for an apartment. You will likely pay more for a vehicle loan, and you can pay more for car insurance in some states here in America. Getting back to the article, the author indicates that some 22 million borrowers had a payment due at some point in October, but roughly 8.8 million of them, 40%, had failed to make their payment by the middle of November, according to the Education Department. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to put that into perspective for you. 8.8 million people is comparable to the population of New York City in 2023. Try to wrap your mind around that for a moment. That is how many people who failed to make their payment on their student loans. Here is something else that really disturbed me when I read it in this article. This 40% of people who failed to make their payments is much higher than the 26% of borrowers who didn't make payments back in October 2019. If our economy is doing so great, like we hear about in the mainstream media, why did such a high percentage of Americans not make a student loan payment in October of this year? I suspect some are kicking the can down the road because they realize they can't be penalized because of Biden's on-ramp program. But I suspect many are in a financial situation where they just don't have the money to make their student loan payments. Keep in mind that interest still accrues during Biden's on-ramp program. Life has gotten incredibly expensive in the past few years. Some may have to choose which bills to pay each month. That is a tough position to be in. My heart goes out to those who are struggling financially that may not be able to make the payment on their student loans. Later in the article, the author explains that about 3 million borrowers didn't have to make a payment because they qualified under Biden's SAVE plan for no payment because of their family size and income level. The good news is that about 60% of federal student loan borrowers did make their first monthly payment. I am happy to report some good news since many of you in the comment section say that I focus too heavily on pessimistic news topics. It is great that all of these Americans are in a financial situation that allowed them to make their federal student loan payment. It is also great that they did so even though they wouldn't have been penalized for not doing so except for interest accrual because of Biden's on-ramp program, at least until October 2024. What do you think about this? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. We may have to worry about something other than federal student loan delinquencies in the future. I read an article today on foxbusiness.com written by Megan Henney titled "Delinquencies Are Rising for Credit Card Auto Loans, and it could soon get worse." According to the author, a growing number of Americans are falling behind on their monthly credit card and car loan payments. The author referenced findings published by Moody's, which indicated credit card balances grew substantially in the third quarter, surging 4.7% from earlier in the summer to about $1.08 trillion. Auto loan balances also increased, climbing 0.8% to $1.6 trillion. Here are my thoughts about this. Americans are dealing with inflation by relying on credit to maintain their standard of living. None of this is a surprise to me. What is disturbing to me is this next part of the article where the author indicates there has been an uptick in borrowers who are struggling with credit card and auto loan payments. Delinquency rates rose for most loan categories during the third quarter and are expected to continue climbing in coming months amid economic stress, tightening lending standards, and possible consumer overreach. Well, ladies and gentlemen, some households are digging themselves into a deep, dark hole of debt, and they will have a hard time ever climbing out. If you know people like this, you may want to buy them Dave Ramsey's Total Money Makeover book. I've included an Amazon affiliate link to all of Dave Ramsey's books in the description below. As an Amazon associate, I earn from qualifying purchases. I'm not going to comment regarding my thoughts about Dave Ramsey himself, but I do like the Total Money Makeover book. I think many everyday Americans could benefit from reading that book, especially young people. This book would make a great Christmas present for people you care about. There's one person who doesn't need to worry about federal student loan debt, credit card debt, or auto loan debt. This person is Bill Gates' daughter. I read an article today on Yahoo Finance, put out by MoneyWise and written by Visesh Razinghani, titled "Bill Gates' 27-year-old daughter paid a reported $51 million for this paparazzi-proof New York City penthouse." According to the author, Jennifer Gates purchased a starter home in New York's Tribeca neighborhood for $51 million. This is an 8,900 square foot unit that is 3 stories and includes multiple private elevators and a 3,400 square foot outdoor space with a pool. Here are my thoughts. From a financial perspective, it must be nice to be Bill Gates' daughter. From a family perspective, my heart goes out to her because her parents got divorced recently, and that has to be tough. I hope she is happy in her new penthouse. I hope she realizes that she is truly blessed from a financial perspective, and I hope she does what she can during her life to help others who are less financially fortunate. At the time I read this article, there were 522 comments beneath it. The top comment really stood out to me, so I'm going to read it to you. The wealth gap in the country has grown astronomically. If you people out there can't see why there is a problem with a 26-year-old that has never worked a day in her life who can afford a $51 million penthouse while most Americans can barely afford rent, I just don't know what to say. I'm all for wealth, and I'm all for to the victor go the spoils. But at some point, there needs to be a line drawn. Middle-class Americans are getting less and less, while the rich just keep getting richer. It's a problem, and pretty soon, if we don't stop it, there won't be a middle class. This commenter made one mistake. Jennifer Gates is 27, not 26. I thought this individual's comment might resonate with some of you. What do you think about this? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. Please keep in mind that everything in this video is for entertainment purposes only, and nothing in this video is financial advice of any kind. If you need advice, seek advice from a qualified professional in good standing who puts your interests first and foremost. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing to the channel. Please also consider sharing this video with your friends. I want to extend a special thanks to everyone who has subscribed to this channel. I want to also thank all of my channel members. Check out some of the great books that I suggest you consider reading In the description below, I've included Amazon affiliate links to these books. As an Amazon associate, I earn from qualifying purchases. Stay healthy and wealthy. I'll see everyone in the next video.